Chosen one, stop scrolling. This isn't just another video. This is a divine interruption, a supernatural summons wrapped in digital form. Right now, heaven is speaking to you and only you, because you've been marked for something rare. This isn't coincidence. This isn't a cute moment. This is a turning point disguised as content. And if you click away, you might just miss the very word that was sent to shift your entire destiny. You see, there are moments in life when time bends, when the eternal touches the ordinary, and when God doesn't whisper, he thunders. And this chosen one is one of those moments. The atmosphere around you isn't random. That stirring in your spirit, the sudden tightness in your chest, the tears forming in your eyes, it's not anxiety. It's divine activation. God is calling you out of survival mode and into a supernatural wealth awakening. Not the kind that just changes your bank balance, the kind that transforms your bloodline. He's been watching you stretch dollars just to make it to Friday, watching you carry silent shame through overdraft fees and secondhand clothes, watching you smile at others while privately calculating how to afford groceries. But God didn't bring you this far to leave you stuck. He didn't preserve your life through chaos just so you could die in debt. No, he's been storing up something sacred, something heavy, something holy. And now the vaults of heaven are unlocking. But listen closely. This is not about lottery-style luck or get-rich schemes. This is about divine order. A sacred contract has been drafted with your name on it, inked in favor, sealed in covenant, and waiting for your agreement. God isn't offering a transaction. He's inviting you into transformation. The kind that rewrites your story not just for you, but for everyone connected to your name. The world told you that being broke was normal, that debt was inevitable, that struggle was noble. But heaven disagrees. God is rewriting your financial theology. He's saying you were never meant to live paycheck to paycheck. You were created to overflow. You were born to lend, not borrow. You were formed to fund visions, not beg for crumbs. And the reason it's been so hard? Because the calling on your life is so high. Chosen one, you've been underestimated by people and environments that couldn't recognize your oil. You've been overlooked, underpaid, and undervalued, but never unseen. Heaven has kept receipts. Every time you gave when it hurt. Every time you served without applause. Every time you sowed with tears, it's all been recorded. And now the harvest is on its way. Not just enough. Not just barely making it, but pressed down, shaken together, and running over. This isn't hype. This is holy. And your wealth isn't just about money. It's about movement. You're not being funded for fashion. You're being resourced for a revolution. God is awakening millionaires with mission. He's raising up kingdom financiers who don't just collect checks, they change cities. And guess what? You're one of them. You were born for more than bills. You were born to break cycles, to cancel curses, to fund orphanages and build schools, to shift policies and release solutions. You've been asking for more money, but God is giving you more mantle. And that mantle is weighty. That mantle comes with instructions. And step one, agreement. You have to say yes. Yes to the wealth. Yes to the calling. Yes to the stretch. Yes to the favor that doesn't make sense on paper but makes heaven erupt with joy. Now let me say this, you're not late. You didn't miss it. The delay wasn't denial, it was development. While you were waiting, God was working. While you were doubting, he was designing. And now the time has come. This is your moment to say yes to your divine wealth assignment. No more fear, no more shame, no more small thinking. You're not just stepping into provision, you're stepping into position. So here's what I need you to do. Right now, pause. Take a deep breath. Feel this moment. This is not entertainment. This is encounter. A holy setup sent to unlock your spiritual economy. If you're ready, and I mean really ready, drop the words "I receive" in the comments right now. That's not just a response. That's a prophetic signature. A signal to heaven that you're ready for the shift. Then hit like, not for algorithm, but as a seal. Subscribe not for content, but for covenant. Because over the next few days, I'm going to walk you through this wealth awakening. Not motivational fluff. real prophetic instruction. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Chosen one, this is your call to rise. Heaven has released the funds. Favor is forming around your future. But you have to move. This is your divine interruption, and it's demanding your yes. Chosen one, you've carried the weight long enough. The quiet panic of unpaid bills. The anxiety that hits like a punch when your phone rings from a number you don't know. The ache of checking your bank account and already knowing what you'll see. But today, heaven makes an announcement. It ends here. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, God is not ignoring your financial warfare. He's confronting it with divine force. You are not being punished, you're being positioned. And the first clause in your sacred wealth contract is clear: debt cancellation. Not just financial debt, but emotional debt, mental debt, spiritual debt. Because what you owe isn't just to the bank, it's to your soul. Every time you swallowed your fear to appear strong, every time you pretended peace while drowning in pressure, every time you prayed with trembling hands wondering if God still heard you, heaven heard. And now heaven is acting. God is not a loan officer. He's a liberator. And when he cancels something, it's not a partial wipe. It's a permanent erasure. No lingering interest. No balance to settle later. You don't have to hustle to earn his help. You just have to believe it's yours. The prison of lack is being demolished. The generational chains of scarcity are snapping in the spirit. What used to trap you, credit cards, student loans, predatory systems, are now subject to supernatural override. Because when God writes the check, it never bounces. And you need to understand, this isn't about pity. This is about power. God is releasing you not just from what you owe, but from the identity that grew out of your lack. You're not a struggler. You're not a charity case. You're not a maybe someday person. You are a chosen investor of kingdom wealth, and heaven is your co-signer. This isn't a bailout, it's a breakthrough. And it doesn't stop at money. Debt affects your mind. It steals your confidence. It clouds your creativity. It paralyzes your purpose. But when the Spirit of the Lord declares release, every invisible hand holding your future hostage must let go. This is not just a shift in your finances. This is a shift in your frequency. What used to feel normal, not enough, always behind, constant dread, is being replaced by a new rhythm, abundance, clarity, flow. God is not just lifting the weight off your wallet. He's lifting the weight off your worship. That exhaustion you feel at the core of your being? That's the heaviness of carrying a calling while trapped in cycles. But heaven is breaking the cycle. You will no longer worship from a place of survival. You will worship from overflow. You will no longer tithe in fear. You will give from fullness, because God is reintroducing you to yourself, the version of you that lives debt-free in both spirit and substance. You are not entering recovery. You're entering redemption. And redemption doesn't restore you to how things were. It restores you to how they should have always been. This moment isn't about covering a few bills. It's about rewriting your foundation. God is cutting off what your grandfather couldn't. God is breaking what your mother endured in silence. He's saying the struggle ends with you. You are not just being set free for your sake. You are being set free for your lineage. Your children will never know the fear of not having enough. Your family will walk on roads paved by your yes today. This is a generational transaction. And the only requirement? Agreement. So agree with heaven. Agree that your past is not your prophecy. Agree that lack is not your legacy. Agree that wealth is not a wish. It is your covenant. Chosen one, you've survived long enough. You've scraped and strategized and settled. But God is tired of watching you barely breathe on the blessings you were never meant to earn. He's calling you into a new identity. One marked not by balance due, but by purpose delivered. This is not another payment plan. This is a divine payoff. And it begins now. So declare it out loud: my debt is canceled, my freedom is funded, my future is secured. Then watch as heaven responds not to your labor, but to your faith. Chosen one, let's talk about the moments when it looked like nothing was left. The nights you stared at your ceiling with tears you didn't dare let fall. The times you counted coins at gas stations, pretending it wasn't humiliating. The seasons where the word zero felt like a personal insult. But what if I told you that zero was never the end? It was the equation heaven needed. Say the world sees zero as failure, as proof that you messed up, missed it, lost everything. But God doesn't measure like man does. In the kingdom, zero isn't emptiness, it's alignment. It's ground zero for glory. When God wants to build something unshakable, he often starts with nothing. And you, chosen one, have been living proof of that holy pattern. Because the loss didn't break you, it built you. The delay didn't destroy you, it developed you. You didn't crumble. You adapted. You didn't quit. You recalibrated. Every rejection became redirection. Every detour was divine. You were not being punished. You were being planted. And what you thought was a grave was actually soil. You've been underground but not unnoticed. You've been hidden but not forgotten. You've been buried but for growth. And now the roots are ready. What people couldn't see, heaven was cultivating. You've cried out for the fruit, but God has been strengthening the roots. That's why the elevation felt delayed. That's why the breakthrough seemed distant. Because God was preparing you to hold what others can't. He wasn't rushing your success. He was maturing your structure. And now that you've been faithful with nothing, he can trust you with everything. Chosen one, hear this. The wilderness was your training ground. The famine was your faith forge. The scarcity wasn't a curse, it was strategy. God stripped you down not to shame you, but to shape you, to strip away ego, to remove every counterfeit comfort, to teach you the difference between hustle and holy flow. The world taught you to grind until you collapse, but heaven is now teaching you to glide in grace. You're moving from grind mode to glory mode, from fear to flow, from poverty to prophetic positioning. What used to take your last ounce of strength will now be done through supernatural rhythm. And that's why the enemy fought you so hard when you had nothing, because he knew what heaven was building from it. He knew zero was the setup. He knew your lowest moment was secretly your launch pad. And now it's about to show. God is about to make you the walking contradiction. The one who came from nothing but owns everything. The one who was disqualified by man but chosen by God. The one who was overlooked for years but suddenly becomes undeniable. Chosen one, this is not your comeback. This is your becoming. You are not just getting restored, you are being redefined. This isn't you going back to who you used to be. This is God unlocking the version of you he's always known. You are not poor. You are not late. You are not average. You're prophetic evidence of what God can do with zero. The equation has changed. You're not rising on credit. You're rising on covenant. Heaven's formula never needed the approval of man. It never required the perfect background or the right connections or a viral moment. All it needed was your yes. And because you said yes when it hurt, when it was quiet, when no one believed, God is now pulling you into the visible, into the elevated, into the overflow. So let the world wonder. Let them ask, how did this happen so fast? Let them whisper your name with awe, and you'll simply smile because you'll know the truth. Heaven started at zero, and zero was always enough for God to multiply. Chosen one, you spent years watching others hold the keys to buildings, to businesses, to freedom. You've walked past homes and whispered prayers, sat in meetings where everyone else seemed in control, scrolled past pictures of lives that looked like everything you dreamed of, and wondered, when will it be mine? But heaven has heard that question, and today the answer is being delivered. This is your dominion shift. The transition from barely making it to boldly owning it. God is no longer letting you lease what you were born to lead. You've rented space long enough, in apartments, in relationships, in confidence, in dreams. But now the script is changing. The land is being transferred. The title is being rewritten. The deed is being handed over, and your name is on it. This isn't hype. This is holy. God is not just blessing your wallet. He's expanding your territory. He's not just giving you money. He's giving you land. And land is not about luxury. It's about legacy. You are not called to chase influence. You are called to steward inheritance. What you're stepping into isn't temporary. It's generational. You're not just receiving for yourself. You're receiving for your children's children. The spaces you occupy now will be the foundation they stand on later. That's why it's been hard. That's why it's been long. Because God wasn't just preparing a blessing, he was building a blueprint. Every place you cried, every room you were denied access to, every door slammed in your face was not rejection. It was reconnaissance. You were scouting territory your spirit would one day own. And now the ownership season has begun. You won't just sign leases, you'll sign deeds. You won't just apply for jobs, you'll create them. You won't just wait for opportunity, you'll authorize access. This is not about ego, it's about obedience. Because when God says go possess the land, it's not a suggestion, it's a summons. He's not blessing you for vanity, he's blessing you for victory. And the land he's giving you is not just physical, it's prophetic. The offices, the platforms, the regions, the influence, it all carries purpose. You're not stepping into property, you're stepping into prophecy. And every square foot has your name and your mission written in the soil. Chosen one, your time as the borrower is over. You are becoming the lender. The table is turning. The contracts are flipping. The gatekeepers are being bypassed. What others needed permission to access, you'll own outright. This is not just your glow up, it's your go up. God is elevating you into realms where influence and impact intersect, where business and belief move together, where money is no longer your master, it becomes your message. And that message is clear. Heaven funds those it favors. You're not just being elevated to prove a point. You're being positioned to build a pattern, a roadmap for what it looks like when faith takes form, when anointing becomes architecture, when obedience becomes ownership. And let me be clear, this isn't about perfection. This is about permission. You don't need perfect credit, perfect timing, or perfect understanding. You need a perfect yes. The kind of yes that moves mountains, the kind of yes that activates angels, the kind of yes that says, God, if you're giving land, I'm ready to walk on it. You are not small. You are not unworthy. You are not just passing through this world. You are called to plant, to build, to multiply. Chosen one, get ready. The contracts are coming. The approvals are aligning. The land is responding. Because when God speaks ownership over you, nothing and no one can reverse it. The enemy tried to convince you that you'd always be last. But God says, I'm making you the first. You were mocked for your dreams. Now you're being mentored for your reality. This isn't just blessing. It's a blueprint. It's not just favor. It's function. And it's happening now. Chosen one, this is no longer just about survival. This is divine strategy. You're stepping into a season where your destiny is not just being revealed, it's being resourced. And the resources aren't coming from where you expect. They're coming from where only God could orchestrate. You're not walking into boardrooms alone. You're not entering contracts unsupported. Heaven has assigned supernatural backing to your next move. Angels aren't just watching over you. They're working for you. Investor angels, breakthrough angels, connector angels. They're moving on your behalf to shift hearts, open doors, rewrite outcomes. Because the mission on your life is too important to leave unfunded. And God doesn't give vision without provision. You've been told to network, to pitch, to chase partnerships. But what if I told you the real investor is invisible? That the reason you keep hearing, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to help you, is because heaven is prompting people in positions of power to favor you without logic. That's not luck. That's divine alignment. That's supernatural equity. Chosen one, get ready for yeses you didn't lobby for. Get ready for collaborations that find you, for clients you didn't pitch, for phone calls you didn't schedule. Because when you step into alignment, God sends assistance. And this assistance doesn't wear name tags. It carries anointing. These are not ordinary transactions. These are divine assignments. Heaven is sending strategic partnerships wrapped in humility and obedience. You won't have to fake confidence or negotiate your worth. You'll walk in rooms already approved, already anointed, already provided for. Because this is what happens when God funds the mission. The favor on your life is creating gravitational pull. You're not chasing, you're drawing. You're not striving, you're standing. And everything that belongs to your calling is being magnetized to your movement. This is divine economics, where heaven moves assets to where obedience is located. God isn't blessing hustle, He's blessing alignment. The world tells you to grind, but God tells you to agree. And when you agree, all of heaven begins to back your blueprint. Angels go before you. Provision surrounds you. Destiny responds to you. You've been walking like a worker. Now it's time to walk like an owner. You've prayed for favor. Now it's finding you. You've cried for help. Now help is arriving, not in the form of handouts, but heavenly hands pushing you forward. Chosen one, this is your investor era. But your capital is not just cash, it's calling. Your strategy is not just clever, it's consecrated. Your partnerships are not just aligned, they are appointed. Expect the unexpected. Expect divine downloads that shift industries. Expect ideas in the middle of the night that disrupt systems. Expect mentors who don't even know you, yet are already assigned to elevate you. You don't need to prove yourself. You need to position yourself. You don't need to perform. You need to partner with heaven. Because this is not about building something big. It's about building something eternal. And what's eternal always attracts heaven's investors. So walk boldly. Speak with authority. Move with clarity. Because God is no longer letting your brilliance die in notebooks. He's breathing on your plans. He's unlocking the rooms. He's moving the funds. You've waited long enough. Now heaven is rolling out the next phase. And it's going to look nothing like the struggle you came from. You're not just entering a season of blessing, you're stepping into a system of supernatural backing. The boardroom has changed. The investors have arrived. And their names are written in glory. Chosen one, what took others 10 years will take you 10 weeks. What others built brick by brick, you build by breath and favor. Because when heaven says go, time obeys. Right now, time is bending in your favor. You're not behind. You are not late. You are being launched not by hustle, by holy timing. The delay was never denial. It was divine protection. God slowed you down to set you up. And now the signal has shifted. The gates are opening. The traffic is clearing. The acceleration has begun. This is not hype. This is not wishful thinking. This is what happens when the God who created time steps into your timeline and presses fast forward. Doors that refused to budge for years will now swing open with ease. Contacts that ghosted you will suddenly remember your name. Invitations you prayed for in tears will arrive without effort. Because this is not about what you can do. It's about what heaven has already decreed. You're moving at the speed of obedience. You're advancing at the pace of purpose. And your name is being whispered in rooms your feet haven't even entered yet. God is collapsing time on your behalf. Not to impress you, but to align you. Because the opportunity window you've been prepared for is now open. And heaven won't let you miss it. The connections, the contracts, the collaborations, they're not arriving randomly. They're arriving rapidly. God is bringing acceleration not to reward perfection, but to honor positioning. Because you didn't just wait. You waited well. You didn't panic during the pause. You worshiped through it. And now the wait is becoming a wave. And that wave is carrying you into places you couldn't force your way into. Chosen one, don't be shocked when it all happens fast. Don't apologize for the sudden success. Don't explain the supernatural pace. Just walk in it, flow in it, own it. Because this isn't the result of luck. It's the fulfillment of alignment. And alignment breeds access. God is placing you at tables you didn't lobby for. He's opening platforms you never applied to. Because when he says now, everything that resisted must release. The struggle you've endured has earned you more than a break. It's earned you a breakthrough. And that breakthrough isn't coming slowly. It's coming suddenly. But let me be clear, this acceleration isn't skipping process. It's compressing it. Every lesson still stands. Every principle still matters. But heaven is removing the drag, the delays, the false starts. The doors that should have opened 5 years ago, they're opening now with compounded interest. And you're not entering with the same mindset. You're entering with clarity, with confidence. with the quiet authority of someone who has suffered in silence and now stands in sovereignty. Chosen one, this is your divine catch-up, your time redemption. The Father is folding years into moments. He's doing in weeks what couldn't happen in decades. You're not walking into opportunities, you're being absorbed by them. You're not just fast-tracked, you're faith-tracked. And everything that was held up, ideas, relationships, finances, favor, is now being released in a flood. So prepare, not with fear, but with focus. Get your systems ready. Get your voice steady. Because the speed of this next season will not be natural. It will be supernatural. And only those anchored in God's presence will be able to ride the momentum. This is your window. This is your wind. The prophetic yes over your life has reached its manifestation point. And now acceleration is not just possible, it's active. Move accordingly. Chosen one, you were never just surviving. You were being positioned to lead a lineage. This entire time, you thought you were the wounded one, the overlooked one, the rejected soul trying to recover. But heaven always saw you as the root planter, the cycle breaker, the blueprint bearer. You are the one your bloodline has been waiting for. Not the strongest in the eyes of man, not the wealthiest by the world's standards, but the one God trusted with the weight of transformation. That's why the pressure was relentless. That's why the warfare didn't let up, because hell knew what was on the inside of you. A revolution, an inheritance, a whole new era. And now you're stepping into that identity not as a victim of the past, but as a pioneer of the future. The pain didn't come to kill you. It came to confirm you. The betrayal didn't break you. It built you. The silence didn't steal your voice. It sharpened it. And now your sound is being released not as a whisper, but as a war cry. A declaration that says, it ends with me. The fear ends here. The scarcity ends here. The addiction ends here. The generational curses stop now. You were not chosen to continue dysfunction. You were chosen to dismantle it. What your parents couldn't heal, you will. What your grandparents endured in silence, you'll confront in boldness. You are the interruption to everything that tried to destroy your bloodline. And because you said yes, even when it was lonely, even when it was confusing, even when it didn't make sense, God is releasing generational restoration. Your ceiling will be your children's floor. Your prayers will become their protection. Your obedience will be their overflow. You're not just living for yourself anymore. You're planting trees your descendants will rest under. You're building foundations they won't have to question. Your voice will echo through time, not through fame, but through legacy. Chosen one, you are the testimony your ancestors never got to tell. You are the dream they dared not pray out loud. You're the redemption they carried in their bones but never saw with their eyes. But now, through you, they rise. Their prayers take form in your action. Their sacrifices gain harvest in your hands. You are not the end of the story. You are the rewrite, the restart, the rebirth. You didn't come to repeat. You came to release, to initiate a new narrative, one marked by clarity, by confidence, by covenant. Your name carries more than history. It now carries prophecy. And everywhere you go, systems will shift. Atmospheres will bend. Chains will break, not because you're perfect, but because you're chosen. This is what it looks like when heaven partners with a surrendered heart. When a life says yes and never looks back. You're not just chosen to be blessed. You're chosen to be a blessing. To ignite movements, to finance missions, to mentor generations. You were sent to shine light in places where your family only knew darkness. You were created to blaze trails where there were only blockages, and now the full authority of heaven stands behind your steps. Every seed you sowed in tears, get ready to reap in power. Every moment you felt invisible, God is placing you in divine visibility. You were never hidden to be forgotten. You were hidden to be fortified. And now you are the evidence, the walking answer, the miracle in motion. This is your becoming. And it's just the beginning.